I call the meeting of the Mount Vernon Independent School District to order. Let the record show that a quorum of board members is present, that this meeting has been duly called, and that the notice of this meeting has been posted in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code, Chapter 551. Do I have a motion to certify the agenda?
I'll make the motion.
Motion made by Donnie. Do I have a second? Seconded by Linda. All four?
Okay.
Kathy, sorry. I was thinking about her not being here. Let the record show that Linda's not being here. Seconded by Kathy. All right, all four. That's 6-0. All right, I'll lead us in a word of prayer. Dear gracious Heavenly Father, thank you for allowing us to gather and meet here tonight. And thank you for a great start to a new year. I just ask for your continued protection over our district, our students, our staff, and that your favor may be over this school year, Father. And I ask that the students and staff here in the entire district be a light and a representation of your love that just filters out into this community. Give us wisdom as we make decisions tonight. May we act according to your will. Thank you for your goodness. In your name I pray. Amen.
Yep.
Let's do our pledges.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one indivisible.
Okay, first day of school enrollment totals that we have turned in so far today. For our first information item, we ended up with 1,587. And last year, our first day, we had 1,588. As you can see, as it goes along, we usually pick up a few who start school a little bit later. And so what you can see is our growth happened in elementary. We were about 19 more, or excuse me, we were 34 more in elementary than we were this time last year. We were 19 more in middle school, and we had 38 less in high school than we did. So we're one less than we were last year.
And then our campus departments.
Okay, our principals are going to come up, just share a little first day update. Mr. Glover's going to be first.
Yes.
All right. Hello?
There we go.
All right, here we go. So, hey, good afternoon, or good evening. Just really good first day of school. Out of all the ones I've been a part of now, going on 10, 11 of them, that was probably the most seamless one. I know a lot of people were wondering how the cell phone thing was going to go. I've been asked about 25 times a day. I'll tell you, I didn't see a single cell phone today, not one. And I think that's not me. It's our whole staff really working hard to spread the message, especially this morning, and being consistent with it. So I'm not naive enough to think that that's going to continue exactly that way. But for the first day, it's not really what I was expecting. That was a good thing. Traffic outside this morning was really good. Everything flowed. Everybody parked in the right spot this morning. That was fantastic. And I think it might have something to do with all the amazing parking maps we put out, but I'm not sure. But overall, really proud of the first day of school. Looking forward to a great year. That's all I got.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Dr. McCall, I was told to get your microphone and not that one. By Mr. Watts and both of them. So this one was better. Thank you.
It's on.
All I'm gonna say is, we survived middle school. Great first day this morning. The drop off went really great. We have some things to work on pickup for sure. It was chaotic to say the least, but that's to be expected with our fifth graders not knowing exactly where they're going and what the process is. 6th, 7th, and 8th grade was pretty smooth, but like I said, 5th grade, once they kind of get the hang of things, we do have some things that we've got to change on pickup, but I think it's going to be an easy fix once we kind of have that plan. We're going to meet about that tomorrow and discuss that, but classes were great. Everybody went where they were supposed to be. I don't think I saw any tears today as far as fifth graders are usually our babies crying. Everybody was good. I do want to plug in on what Glover said. I happened to go over and check on my husband to make sure he survived his first day. And I was walking down the hall, and there were conversations and kids smiling. And this is high school, because middle school's already used to it. I could see their faces, and it was so exciting. I told them that was probably the highlight of my day, was letting them be able to communicate and smile and laugh and all on one phone. It was a beautiful thing. So kudos to that high school for sure. So.
Excellent.
Hello. Best first day ever.
Wow,
It
very
was
good.
really good down there. We are packed in and we are all smiles, all happy. Our biggest grade level is fourth grade. We had 122 fourth graders today. So still have a little room for some more. So we are great. We I don't think I didn't see anyone crying. That's a big deal. We only had one miss the bus. The bus came back and got him. And one got on the wrong bus that was headed home. So it was a successful day. We have the best staff ever, and it's a great day to be a Tiger.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Next is our construction update. Lou with Jackson was not able to be here, not even by phone or Zoom tonight, so he sent me an update that I'll share with you. Unit A, which we are setting in, Unit A is middle school. Punch items, a few left to finish. Handrails to be installed within the next 3 weeks or so. As you know, they've put up temporary handrails for that. So they're working on that. Still a few things. Got some door swings and some things like that. Just small pieces that, of course, when you're having to order and waiting on production, take a little while to get here, even when they've been ordered for several months. Unit C, which is the admin, demo is complete. They're beginning metal stud framing inside there, so they're moving along there. Unit D, which is the cafeteria, they're hanging steel. If you've seen that up around the kitchen area, so you can see progress going up for the cafeteria. Unit E, which is the Fine Arts Building, they're beginning the steel decking this week for the roof. And actually it says starting brick install soon. They actually started that last week. And I'd say they're about, when I saw this morning, they're a third to maybe 40% up the wall here in the breezeway on that wall, on the east wall of the Fine Arts Building. No work on Unit F. Unit G, which is the Ag Building, they're going to pour that slab scheduled for this week. And in our site, they're going to pour half of the front fire lane in front of the middle school and admin on Wednesday. And so they've got a lot going on. They did a lot of work. I will give Jackson Construction credit. They did a whole lot Thursday and Friday getting ready for us to help be ready today, moving some building materials, cleaning some things up, and just making sure that their subcontractors were on the same page with us. They've condensed their parking to the front. If you come up the boulevard, Jackson put 2 signs up that says right for Jackson Construction and left for Mount Vernon. So they're working really hard to take care of that. Fencing is up all over the place, of course. So as we know, construction is going to continue on this school year for sure. Only other part, of course, of any type of construction, we talked a little bit about Hellas. Hellas is still working on the cleaning the bleachers with their just gone blank.
Laser.
Thank you, with their laser machine. So it's a slow process for sure, but I did see that the trailer was back out there today, and I think they were doing some more work today. Other than that, they're there. I know we had a inter-squad scrimmage Saturday. Other than being hot, I think went well. And I know Coach McLean said no injuries, which is always good as well. So, any questions I can answer in regard to construction?
Are they gonna put handrails on I saw the wood for the side, but
For the
on
steps?
the
Yes,
front,
ma'am.
the steps.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, there'll be 3. Yes, ma'am. Sure will. Any other questions? Maybe I can say this. We did give kudos to Lindley Landscape, Kobe Lindley, a graduate from here from a few years ago. Reached out to him and a few weeks ago, and his group, his guys came and put in our irrigation and our sod and landscaped the planter there in front of the middle school. got that done. He kind of put us in front of the line of some other customers I know he had, but to help get us ready for today. And so I appreciate them and what they did. So we do have sod there to help in regard to some of the dust and the dirt coming in the building, and which I think also helps the look of the front of the school as well. So appreciate Kobe and his group for doing that.
Any
Okay.
questions? All right, let's move to the cafeteria.
Yeah, the last information item is in regard, or not the last, but sorry, the next is the cafeteria pricing. As you saw in your materials, they are unchanged from last year. As you see, the first breakfast for this school year is free for every pre-K through 12th grade student. And then if they decide to get a second meal, there's a charge of $2.50. The employees can have breakfast for $2.90 and visitors for $3.40. Lunch, all the lunches, their first lunch is free for pre-K through 12th grade student again. So every student that we have can eat free, breakfast and lunch, which is really, really good. That's a great benefit to a lot of our students and a lot of our families. Their second meal, if they decide to come back through and get extras, for lunch will be $3.75. Employee meal is $5.50, and the visitor is $6. So again, there's no change in the cost. That was approved last year, so there's not a reason for any action. That's why it's information. Any questions on the meal prices? As you know, Ms. Heather does a great job, and you're going to see here in just a moment when Craig goes through the budget overview that they are doing really well. Okay.
And information item E.
Yes, ma'am. E, the next part of the information is Mount Vernon ISD Police. JP spoke with Judge Levere last week, and the city has, I guess, given us the authority or to enforce state traffic laws on public school access roads. So what that means is going to be coming up off of Rutherford. It'll be there going by the gym in between baseball, softball fields and the boulevard. Again, JP and his folks do a good job. We're not necessarily in the traffic enforcement business, but as a part of school safety, they are watching things like that. As you know, it is against the law to be on a cell phone inside the school grounds, especially when you're driving in school zones. So they will have conversations with people as they see come through. And then another part will be, of course, at times we have folks who like to go really fast in the school zone. And so they'll be watching for that and have conversations as well. Again, JP and I have talked, we're not really in the ticket writing business, but after one or two conversations with the same person, it could turn into at least a written warning so that can be on file as well. But that was just some information that JP wanted to be sure that we shared tonight with you to let you be aware that the judge has granted to us as a school district. Any questions on that? JP, do I need to add anything to that? We good with that? Okay. Okay. Next will be Mr. Krager with the budget overview.
All right, you'll notice these were actually attached later before when y'all got the email that the agenda was done, so they are attached to the board book. If you logged in and looked at it, I don't know if you did or not. I'll go through the first one will be our debt service. We are budgeting almost to the dollar of what we are requiring to make our debt payments. If you'll look, if you're looking at that budget, you'll kind of notice that our local funds dropped significantly. That's because the state funds are going to make up the difference for that. That is due to tax compression and the extra homestead exemptions, the $40,000 on homestead exemption, and then the extra $50,000 that's for over 65 disabled or veterans. So they're actually going to be at if you're over 65 or disabled or veteran, you're going to have $200,000 homestead exemption. The others will have $140,000. So that's the state making that up to make sure that we get reimbursed for that, I guess you could say. So that's where we are on that. It does show an impact balance of $965, but we've got a healthy fund balance in our debt and our finance. On the food service, we're looking to be a balanced budget on that. You see 594 is revenues and expenditures. Compared to the current one, you'll notice that yes, our revenues were less than our expenditures, but the state, actually the federal government, requires us to only have a certain amount in our fund balance. If you go over it, you have to put a plan together to expend that. So we've been expending it, and then they said, oh yeah, by the way, we're not gonna go 3 months, we're gonna go 6 months. So we could have had a larger fund balance, but we spent it down, which is fine anyway. She does a very good job of handling the back office side of everything, and she's gonna roll over some money this year as well, possibly, even though we've used some of that fund balance, that was to knock down the fund balance on purpose. And then when we get to our general budget, you can see the current budget that you see on that first column. That is our amended budget. That wasn't our original budget that we adopted last August. That was $18,888,000. We had the $1,090,000 that we used in fund balance, and that's where we come up with a budget of $19,978,000. If you look at the proposed budget, yes, it did jump significantly. We're getting a little bit from local funds on that, but the majority of that is state funds. And the majority of that was for teacher raises and support staff raises as well. So you can see those on the third column. You can see the exclamations of any increases or any decreases. I didn't do every single thing, but if it was a significant enough, I put a description out beside that. We are looking at a budget of about $21.1 million, which is significant from the adopted budget last year of $8.8. Are there any questions on that? And as you can see at the bottom, we are well in our 3-month fund balance requirement as well.
Any questions? Craig, thank you very much.
Thank you, appreciate it. Okay, we will move on to our open forum for public comments. We do have one person signed up, Ms. Bonacorsi. And while you walk up here, I'm gonna go ahead and read this. If you'll just it's a little long, but just bear with me, it kind of goes by our procedure.
Wait till she gets up there, that way she can hear it for sure.
I will begin the open forum of this meeting with a few remarks to clarify what is appropriate and not appropriate for public comments. Mount Vernon ISD board policies are the law of the school district and the board of trustees. We follow the law. Policy BED local governs the public portion of this meeting, public comment portion of this meeting. Audience participation is limited to the public comments portion of this meeting. At all other times, the audience shall not attempt to enter discussion, debate, or ask questions on matters being considered by the board. At regular meetings, the board permits public comments relating to the district, regardless of whether the topic is an agenda item. At special meetings, the board limits public comment to agenda items. Individuals who want to participate in public comments must sign up and indicate their topic of choice before the meeting begins. If you have not signed up already, then you will not be permitted to speak at tonight's meeting. Each speaker is limited to 5 minutes. If you require the assistance of a translator to the English language, then you will receive twice the amount of time if you're speaking on an agenda topic. Board policy allows me to adjust the amount of time for public comments when necessary for effective meeting management or to accommodate large numbers of individuals wishing to address the board. Each person is allowed to speak individually. Do not expect to debate with the board or individual trustees. Public comments cannot be used to discuss a specific complaint or grievance. For example, if a parent has a specific complaint regarding his student, a decision relating to his student, or against specific school personnel, then that complaint must go through the process in board policy FNG local. Employee complaints regarding their own work or other employees must go through the process in board policy DGBA local. These topics cannot be discussed in the public comment forum of a board meeting. Anyone who violates this policy will be given one warning. If the speaker violates this policy a second time, then that speaker's time will be immediately end. Refusal to abide by this policy may result in the speaker's removal from the board meeting. Thank you for following the policy at Mount Vernon ISD.
I'm loud, so it doesn't matter, or I can.
Ms. Bonacorsi, because you have 5 minutes, this will be your timer, okay?
Great. Excuse me, I usually do not have my cell phone up here, but I have a daughter who's a 3-year-old type 1 diabetic, so if my phone screams, it's that, and she's going down and somebody will handle it there. But good evening, board members. My name is Whitney Bonacorsi. I'm the Mount Vernon Elementary School PTA president, an involved community member, and more than anything, I'm a concerned mother. On April 22nd, my son was violently attacked by another student after practice on school grounds. He was lured into a bathroom under the bleachers and violently assaulted while 2 students watched, blocked the door, filmed, and screamed profanities at him. My son was punched, pushed, and eventually choked. At the end of the assault, my son was seen tapping the floor because he could not breathe. I have a video of this if you'd like to see it. This assault took place on April 22nd. My son began school today and was shocked to begin his day in athletics where the student who assaulted him was there as well. Immediately, my son had trouble breathing and was fighting tears. My son did not attend the rest of the school day. My son Colton is in 8th grade. He stands at 6'3" and 190 pounds and is a big brother to 3 younger siblings. He's a gentle giant, he's incredibly smart, and loves to play football, basketball, and track. It has been just a little over 3 months since my son was assaulted. He is not comfortable going into bathrooms with stalls and wonders constantly why he was picked for such a brutal attack. As a mother, I'm wondering why a student who committed a serious crime not very long ago is allowed to participate in school sports that we consider a privilege so soon after the assault happened. I don't know what standard we're setting for these boys. It's okay if you commit a crime late in the school year because it'll all clear up in just a couple months. And you'll have the privilege to play again. I'm also concerned because this act was incredibly violent, and now, while still under a no contact order with my son and probation, this young adult is being allowed to play a violent sport on top of it. At no point in the last 3 months have I or my son been made aware that the perpetrator would be allowed to play sports. Colton was shocked and had a panic attack. Why was he not informed of this? If he had known, it would have given him a chance to prepare and decide if he wanted to participate in Mount Vernon sports. Why should my son, the victim in this situation, not have the courtesy of a phone call or a sit down with administration and coaches? Please keep in mind this happened 3 months ago. I imagine most of us would expect the same courtesy if we were victims of a violent crime. Personally, I think we need to do better. I think Mount Vernon needs to do better. We cannot allow students to think they can commit violent acts at the end of the school year and it will disappear over the summer. It certainly hasn't disappeared for my son, Colton, who is now forced to face his attacker every day and play a sport with him that is supposed to be considered a team sport. Why are we asking a 13-year-old to either miss out on something he loves or deal with the emotions that you and I as adults would have trouble processing? And mind you, as adults, we would have a restraining order and this person wouldn't be allowed to be anywhere near us. How we reward this bad behavior needs to stop. I'm standing here as someone who loves this school. I volunteer a lot. I give a lot of myself to this district and I love this school. I love our administration and I love our teachers. But I'm trying to understand where my son, as the victim, has been lost and not given the courtesy and the respect that he deserves. My hope is that this decision to allow this person to play sports will be reconsidered, not only for my son, but for any child that could also become a potential victim and need to remind you that he is currently on probation for violent crime. I am a concerned member. I am a mom. I volunteer my time. I do what I can do for this district. I appreciate our teachers, and I'm not angry, I'm very disappointed. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Corsi. We'll move on to the next agenda item, which is to approve the consent agenda. Do I have a motion for approval of the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion.
Motion made by Kyle, is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Donnie, all four? 6-0. All right, we'll now move down to our action items. Action item A, consider approval of agreement for the purchase of attendance credit netting chapter 48 funding and delegate contractual authority to the superintendent.
Test. Thank you. Okay, in your board book, you saw the information from TEA that they still consider us a chapter 48 district. But as you also saw in that, we are at this point still we don't have any excess revenue that we'll be sending back to the state. But because they still consider us that, we have to act upon the decision what we've done. In the past, as you saw, we have chose option 3, and that is to, let me go back to that. Apologize. Which is purchased average daily attendance credit as provided by chapter D. Out of the ones that are there, we're not going to consolidate. We're not going to detach territory. We're not going to educate non-resident students, and we're not going to have a tax-based consolidation. So option 3 is what we do, purchase of average daily attendance. Usually how that is if we have excess funds, they just withhold those from us instead of sending that money to us. So that is the recommendation to the board, is that we choose option C, and then as well as to give me contractual authority to sign the paperwork with TEA under chapter 49.
Is there a motion to approve option C and delegate authority to the superintendent to sign off on that? Motion made by Josh, is there a second? Seconded by Kathy, all four? 6-0.
Thank you very much.
Action item B, consider approval of the 2025-26 student insurance policy with health special risk.
Craig Craver, you want to say anything about that?
There's not any kind of increase from last year to this year. This does cover the student insurance covers anything from sports to extracurricular activities, bus field trips or anything like that. But kind of shocked that we're not increasing this. You'll see later on something else that may even shock you more than that. But we're pleased with the company that we're with. Any questions on that?
That insurance premium you saw is $54,316.
It's grades, what, 6 through 12? Or what grades?
What is it?
What is
6 through 12.
6 through 12?
Now on sports, yes.
Okay. Oh, there you go.
Field trips, stuff like that, that covers.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Are there any other questions on that? Okay. Do I have a motion to approve the 2025-2026 student insurance fee policy with health special risk?
I'll make a motion.
Motion made by Kathy, seconded by Donnie, all four? 6-0. Action item C, consider approval of the 2025-2026 student code of conduct.
Craig Watson.
There were some,
That's fine.
yeah, I'm good. There were some, quite a few changes to, in legislature this session, several bills regarding discipline. And the highlights of all of those are kind of what I'm gonna cover with you. I'm not gonna go through the thing intact, but just the changes that you will see, the major changes to the student code of conduct. One of those being that prior to this year, there was a 10-day limit on in-school suspension. That had been put in play either one or two sessions ago. Well, they repealed that and changed that. where there is no limit on in-school suspension. The only thing that's required now is if you have a student that's in there longer than 10 days, you've got to do a formal review by the principal at that 10-day mark. That's one of the changes. Another change is that prior to this session, out-of-school suspension, which for all kids in all instances is limited to 3 days, was prohibited for students under grade 3 and for any student that was experiencing homelessness. Well, they've given a little caveat to that and says that students under grade 3 and a student of any grade that is considered homeless, they can be suspended with out-of-school suspension if they engage in behavior that threatens the immediate health and safety of other students, or they have documented repeated or significant disruptions in the classroom. So that is also a change. Another change is we've always had in play what's called a formal teacher removal, where a teacher in the past could submit in writing that they have a student removed from their classroom for any serious or series of repeated behaviors. That's been changed and clarified to now that a teacher can initiate a formal removal for a single incident now as opposed to repeated incident. And what a formal removal looks like is that it cannot extend beyond 3 days, but prior to the return of that student to the teacher's classroom, the student to be placed in OSS, in ISS, DAP, wherever, but there has to be a meeting with the campus behavior coordinator and the parent, and return to class plan has to be in place before they can come back at the end of that 30. So that's all outlined in your student code of conduct. Another change that was made is that use of vapes or e-cigs is no longer mandatory DAEP. Schools still may use DAEP for students using vapes or e-cigs, but if you opt not to do DAEP and you choose not to go that route, then it has to be a minimum of 10 days of ISS. So that is also a change. There were some additional discretionary DAEP offenses that were added that included harassment of employees and then significant class disruptions that were permissible DAEP offenses. And then also they added this year, we've always had mandatory expulsions for certain severe behaviors, but they've added an option for us to do virtual expulsions now, to where we provide it would depend on the grade level and whatnot, but it's not mandatory, but it's an option that we could do. So, any questions about any of those changes?
Were the only changes made to the conduct all legislated, like passed down from the legislation?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
I just
it's
wanted to
pretty
clarify that.
standard. Like next year with no legislative session, there probably won't be a single change. It's every 2 years and then we get those big changes.
Anyone have any questions for Charlie? Thank you. Is there a motion to approve the 2025-2026 student code of conduct?
I'll make a motion.
Motion made by Donnie, is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Kyle, all four? 6-0.
Okay, thank you.
Action item D, consider approval of the 2025-2026 T-test appraisal calendar?
Yes,
Did I say that right?
Yes. As you know, T-test is our teacher appraisal program that we use. The calendar is set there for you, shows teacher orientation time, the appraisal year, teacher orientation timeline, goal setting, professional development plan timeline, pre-conference, formal observation, post-observation, when formal walkthroughs can take place, and by the end date of the end of year conference. So upon your approval tonight, this will go into place, and all teachers will be made aware of that.
Any questions?
Yes.
Do I have a motion to approve the T-test appraisal calendar? Motion made by Kathy. Do I have a second? Seconded by Donnie, all four? 6-0.
Thank you.
Action item E, to consider approval of the public hearing meeting date for the 2025-2026 budget and proposed tax rate on August 25th, 2026.
It's just to vote on that you want to have our, hearing. Hearing, public notice, attached is the public notice that's run in the newspaper to be on August 25th at 5:15 to go over, the budget and the tax rate. The notice is attached, and I guess the biggest thing to notice is that M&O tax rate is 0.6286, and that is 0.27866 with a total tax rate of 90.726 cents, down almost 10 cents from last year.
Since we
Can you
passed
say
the
that
law,
again?
30 cents.
How much? Wait.
90 cents.
That's a decrease of 30 cents since the bond passed.
Yes. Actually, I believe we started at
20.
131.
I think we were 122 and then the bond passed, went to 131.
131.
That's right.
And now we're at 90.
I think we were set at 130. It's very compression or something.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve the public hearing meeting date for the proposed tax rate on August 25th, 2026? Motion made by Donnie, seconded by Kyle, all four,
It's 25th, right? 2025.
Yes.
Yes.
August 25th.
2025.
August
You said
25th.
Oh, y'all, I'm sorry.
Oh, that's what it says. Yeah, we had a little bit, yeah, typo. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Okay, now we need to approve the proposed 2025-2026 tax rate.
Like I said before, we are proposing a 62.86 cents maintenance and operations rate and a 27.866 tax rate for our principal and interest on our debts, for a total of 90.726 cents overall.
Do I have a motion to approve the new tax rate? Motion made by Josh, seconded by Donnie, all four. 6-0.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Action item G, consider approval of Jackson Oil Company for 2025-2026 fuel proposal.
I have a question. Did anybody else submit?
No, ma'am, that's where I was fixing to go with that. I was fixing to explain that. So, that's okay. So, requests were sent out from a competitive proposals that were published in the Mount Pleasant Tribune, which is our paper that we publish in, on July 9th and 16th, with a due date of July 24th. They were also sent, I think Bobby said that they were sent out to the same 6 or 7 vendors we always send out to. Jackson Oil Company was the only one who turned in a bid, a sealed bid. We received no others.
Have we gone with them in the past?
Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am.
Any further questions on that?
Not if anybody else.
I would say, yeah, nobody else did.
Come on.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a no-brainer.
Who were they sent to?
Jess, do you know who they're usually sent to? Winkle?
Jackson, there's a place in Dangerfield, I forget the name.
Yep.
There's one in Sulphur Springs, I forget the name. It's been a while since I've done it, but yes, there's normally 6 or 7 I would always send to. And when Pam took my job, I just gave her that same list, so I'm sure it's the same people.
Usually, I think at the most we've ever received maybe is 3.
That sounds
I was gonna say, I don't think
Yeah,
we
I think-
received
never
one
been
last
much.
year. I think Jackson.
I think
was
maybe,
only
I think we
one.
received 2 last year. Jackson still won the bid. And again, they're the only one that's turned one in this year.
Do I have a motion to approve the Jackson Oil Company for fuel?
I'll make a motion.
Motion made by Josh, is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Kyle, all four.
Thank you.
6-0. Okay, action item H, consider approval of the 2025-2026 NBISD personnel communication device policy.
So we gave you the, sorry, we shared with you last month, and we put it out on our social media, kind of our personal communication policy, that FAQ. We've kind of gone through that, and then we have the policy there included for you as well. Without reading through the whole thing, I mean, you've been able to look at that and see that. Are there any specific questions or comments I could answer possibly in regard to that? I think as you heard from our principals today, day one went great. We're anticipating the same way throughout the rest of the school year. I think we've really communicated this well with our parents and our students, and I anticipate that to be continued throughout the rest of the school year as well. Any questions on that for us?
Do I have a motion to approve? I will make the motion to approve the personal communication device policy. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Josh, all four. 6-0. Moving on to the next item, election services contract for May 2026.
Okay, what we have there is a contract with Franklin County. As you know, last year, maybe the year before, I know last year we contracted with them to do our elections, and we would like to continue with that. So it is the recommendation for the board to approve the contract for election services with Franklin County.
Do I have a motion to approve the election services contract for May 2026?
I'll make a motion.
Motion made by Donnie, is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Kyle, all four. 6-0.
Yeah, we found them, yeah.
Next is the extra duty stipend list for the 2025-2026 school year. Dr. McCullough?
Extra duty stipend list.
Sir.
Thank you. As you know, we have several things on the stipend list. A couple things have been updated. You'll see down about, I guess, what would be on the second page of that under administrative operations. District required professional development on non-contract days for salary exempt employees would be an addition of $250 day, regardless of what their daily rate is. That's what that would be on that day. For reading math academies on non-contract days, so this is not if they have to go to a reading or math academy on a Tuesday that we're in school. This would be if they have to go on a Friday that we're out of school, or if they're doing something in the summer with a reading or math academy. And this $50 an hour is set by the state. So again, a little different from the professional development cost, but if it's a 6-hour training, the state sets that $50 minimum, so it'd be $300 for that day. The only other new one added to this, I believe, is part-time assistant coach. You'll see that for $2,500. I think Coach McLean asked to have that added for Coach Solo, who helps out in his duties. Okay? Yes, ma'am. So those are the three changes to the extra duty stipend list. My recommendation for you to approve.
Any questions about the list? Okay. Do I have a motion to approve the extra duty stipend list for this school year?
I'll make a motion.
Motion made by Kyle, seconded by Donnie, all four. 6-0.
Thank you.
Action item K, consider approval of policy update for EFB local regarding library materials.
So this is another change in policy coming out of the legislative session. Part of this is, again, part of the parental rights bills that came out. You can read through there. I'm not going to read through the whole thing, but it does give allow parent involvement. As it says, I will read that section. Parents and guardians are the primary decision makers regarding their child's access to library material. In general, a student is afforded the opportunity to self-select library materials as part of literacy development in the library program. District staff may assist a student in selecting library material. However, the ultimate determination of appropriateness remains with the student and parent or guardian. Parents and guardians are encouraged to communicate with the campus librarian and their child's teacher about special considerations regarding library materials self-selected by their child. In accordance with state law and administrative procedures, parents or guardians may submit to the principal or a staff member designated by the principal a list of library materials that the parents or guardian's child shall not be allowed to check out or access for use outside of the school library. It says superintendent shall develop procedures to permit a parent or guardian to submit the request in at least one of the methods permitted by law. And the parent or guardian may select alternative library materials for their child. So that talks about the parent involvement. Also talks about a local policy for challenge of library material. A district employee, a parent or guardian of a district student or district resident may challenge library material maintained in the district's library program. The guiding principles show what that is and how that is done with the informal challenge, a formal challenge. If there is a challenge, it says the principal shall appoint a challenge committee and notify committee members in accordance with administrative procedures. That committee shall look over that and make a determination. As a board, you will be notified. It says the superintendent, the school librarian, and the individual submitting the challenge and any other appropriate staff shall receive a copy of the committee's report. That if the person does still not agree with the campus committee, they can appeal that. That appeal would come to the board. It says the board shall hear the appeal and render a decision in accordance with the timelines established in law. Let's see. Also, it even says, which this is new, the board shall accept gifts and donations. This is there before, but I want to make you aware of this. The board shall accept gifts and donations of library materials with the understanding that the use and disposition of the materials and monies will be in accordance with district policy and the selection criteria noted above. So even through some donations, we'll bring that information if there's books donated to the library so that you'll have that information as well. Okay? It says this policy shall be reviewed at least every 3 years and revised as necessary. So that is local policy EFB. Any questions that I can answer in regard to the library policy? As you know, we contract with Region 8 for our librarian. Craig's wife, Ms. Craver, is our librarian. She does a great job, and that's the benefit of us being able to work with her and have her, because she's on top of those things through the service center and helps us in this regard. So.
Do I have a motion to approve the updated policy EFB local?
I'll make a motion.
Motion made by Josh, is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Kyle, all four. 6-0. Action item L, consider approval of property and casualty insurance for the 2025-2026 school year.
You're going to like this. You're going to like it.
Will they work on mine?
I'm glad y'all are sitting down. All right, we are gonna be with, risk management, again this year. Last year, our total insurance premiums with them were about $491,000.
Wow.
This year, it's $440,000.
Kathy. Oh. I'm kidding, I'm kidding.
Property value went from 107 million to 114 million. And it went down. We are getting a 2% wind, hail, tornado, hurricane deductible. I don't know if y'all had anybody had their homeowners renewed. I did. It is now 2%. It seems to be across the board industry standard on that. Apparently Texas is very prone to that, a lot of claims, so that does drive up the cost on that. So that's why they have changed their deductibles to be larger. But yes, we will pay about $51,000 less than what we pay.
That's great.
Craig did go out and seek some other bids as well. You want to say anything about that?
The best one that would match it was through a Pearson and Finley. They're out of Paris. They use Peace, which is public, what it's called. Anyway, they're out of Texarkana. They deal with a lot of schools on their coverage and everything. And they were going to be about $48,000 more than RNC. So we decided to go with RNC. It's pretty good.
That's awesome.
That's great news.
Same coverages too, no drops in coverages. If we add an automobile, that doesn't fluctuate. That also covers our cyber, crime, school board liability, general liability, automobile, boiler and machinery, and then it covers all property casualties.
Any more questions for Mr. Craver?
Good job, Craig.
All right.
You know who to call.
All right, do I have the motion to approve the property casualty insurance for the 2025-2026 school year?
I will with that big Craig.
Kathy, seconded by Donnie, all for 6-0. All right, action item N, consider approval of the district lawn care annual partial maintenance.
Yes, we are going to continue with Daryl, we're going to continue with Daryl Boyd and his crew, Daryl Boyd Lawn Service. You approved this last year, so it came to a year, and we put it back on the agenda. There's not going to be any change in regard to the cost of what he's charging us. Once our north end gets to where it needs to be mowed, I'll have the conversation. That might change just a little bit, but not much. But I, again, make the recommendation, staying with Daryl Boyd Lawn Service. We've been very pleased with what he's done, and his bid last year was significantly less than anybody else that came closer.
Okay, I have a question.
Okay?
What about, do they maintain the old
No,
baseball?
ma'am. So their contract has been for everything from basically the front of the school to 37. Our folks maintenance crews try to take care of the back.
That and over by the new gym and stuff across the road. The old
Correct.
practice
Correct.
field.
Those practice field. Yes, ma'am.
That's us.
That's us. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So they're mowing it 36 times a year? Is that what we're
Yes, correct.
Even December?
Well, they make it 36. So again, if it comes to, I know they were here probably once or twice during December.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Again, they've done a great job. I'd be honest with you. I think it's our grounds and what they've taken care of have looked the best since I've been here. I think I've been very pleased with what they've done. And they show up. That's Craig and I told this morning. The great thing about it is they're mowing on Fridays and Saturdays when we're not in school. So, any questions that can turn that? Thank you for your questions.
Do I have a motion to approve, Daryl Boyd for
Daryl
the
Boyd Lawn Service.
district lawn care annual partial maintenance service?
I'll make a motion.
Motion made by Josh, I'll second it, all for 6-0.
Thank you very much.
It is now 6:09 p.m. We will convene into closed session for personnel matters pursuant to Texas Government Code Section 551.074 and to address legal concerns, implications, and questions regarding the posted agenda items pursuant to Texas Government Code Section 551.071. All right, it is 8:20 p.m. We are convening back into open session to discuss matters discussed in closed session. Do you have a personnel report for us?
I do. Since last meeting, we have hired Jamie Doan, high school teacher, Susie De La Garza, pre-K teacher, and Terry McGonigal as part-time middle school theater teacher who will do some additional help with high school one-act play in the spring.
And then no motion's needed on this,
No,
correct?
ma'am.
Okay.
Ma'am.
And resignations?
Yes, we have Jennifer Danielson, high school CTE teacher, and Cameron Neller, high school math teacher and coach. Resignations.
It is 8:21 p.m. This meeting is adjourned.